Okay, today I am replacing the screen on my Google Pixel. I got my new screen in today. As you can see, my old screen is not faring so well. It is significantly damaged. Asphalt and a not very protective case will do that. The screen that I ordered came with the screen digitizer already fused together because they're one part. Came with a pick to sort of wedge in between the screen and the frame because it's held on by adhesive. And the new screen, I believe, already has adhesive on it underneath this pull tab here, the blue one. If not, I'm assuming this will be the adhesive that will go on the center. So the first thing we're going to do is turn off the device, because you never want to work on a phone that's powered on. We're going to grab a safe open tool from my handy dandy iFixit kit. Wait for my phone to power off here. There it goes. And we are also going to grab a hair dryer. My girlfriend was kind enough to let me use it since I don't have a heat gun on hand. Since the Pixel screen is held on by adhesive, we're going to use the hair dryer to sort of heat up that adhesive and just blowing over the screen evenly, and that way we can warm up that adhesive and make it a little easier to remove. Although chances are this screen's going to come off in pieces because of how broken it is, but we will try to get the whole thing off all at once if we can. So I'm just going to heat that up real quick. And that should be enough to at least let us open up the case. Oh yes, phone is pretty hot. We'll see if this pick is worth anything that they gave us. Doesn't seem like it is. So I want to start on this side since it's less cracked over here. Yeah, so this pick that they gave us is seems to be more meant for holding the screen open than it is for getting the screen open. My safe open tools are not in the best condition either. We'll try a different one. This one's pretty fresh, pretty untouched, so it should hopefully serve us well. What I am afraid I'm going to have to do is use something metal, but I don't want to do that. Perhaps a little cut along the edge would help here. Like I said, I don't want to scratch up the frame by using a metal screwdriver or anything of that nature. Definitely not the cleanest job. It looks like it's some... Yeah, we definitely tore through the actual screen, which is not necessarily what we want to do if you want to preserve the old one. If you don't want to preserve the old one, like myself, as you may be able to tell, that I'm not worried about it, you can be a little more rough as a means of getting it out. The important thing to remember there is that whatever stays inside the phone, you'll have to spend some extra time cleaning it out and making sure it's all gone before you move on to installing the new screen. And you want to be careful not to hit your lock button here, or whichever side you might be on. You want to be careful not to hit that because it could power the phone back up, and you never know what the phone is going to do if it gets powered on while a broken screen is still connected to it. I'm going to point it away from me so that I don't accidentally send glass flying into my face without realizing it. That is a fancy looking piece of broken glass there. Now what I think is unfortunate here is that we separated the touchscreen from the screen, which means that a couple of things. It means the screen is permanently broken, and it means we may have to do a little extra work to get inside the phone. You want to be extra careful with all of these shards of broken glass that are sitting about. You can very easily cut yourself on them. I see definitely a couple pieces of that blue plastic from the safe open tool that didn't do us a lot of good. Just going to slide this pick around, getting a few more chunks at a time. There's the LCD screen that we're under. That's definitely broken now, if it wasn't already before. As you can see, it flips over as you pull it out. That's what should have happened with the entire assembly if we had done it a little more proper. And here we have some T5 screws. So we're going to take our screwdriver. We're going to locate a T5 end. We're going to quickly unscrew those. Grab a pair of really sharp tweezers here to get those screws out. And we're going to place them into the screwdriver holder. We're going to slip the tweezers under, very gently pick up the metal grate that holds the display and touchscreen connector in place. Make sure we get that bit of broken glass out of the way. We're gonna just ever so gently pop the connector up to remove it. The reason we want to be careful with that, even though we are already holding a 100% definitely broken for life screen, is because if we don't be gentle, we could possibly damage the connectors in that area. And that's the last thing we need when we're on the inside of a phone that is as expensive as this. It's very easy to forget sometimes when you're working on electronics projects like this that you are on the inside of a, $600, $700, $800, $900 device. So you don't want to get too cocky. We'll just set that there, because those are going to keep rolling around. Now the good part about removing the screen is that we now have a little bit of extra room under this glass to get in and sort of get it out of our way. This is going to be a somewhat lengthy process of picking pieces of broken glass out of the phone, but it's very, very important that we make sure we get every last bit, because if we don't, you could have broken glass scratching the inside of your phone when you try to push the new screen down onto the frame. Now, being as... oh, a piece of it stuck to me. There we go. Being as this part is the top of the phone, it contains the speaker, the light sensor, and the front camera. You want to be very careful not to damage any of those components while you're removing the glass. Especially being in this area right here, there is a small opening where a ribbon cable seems to go down into the phone. So you want to be very careful not to accidentally slip your pick or tweezers or whatever you're using under that opening, because you could break that cable. And the reason I'm not setting the phone down is because there are many, many, many little pieces of glass, little tiny specks of glass on my working area here. And I don't want one of those to scratch up the back of the phone. So I don't want to set the phone down into those. One thing to remember as well is that the this little film over the earpiece speaker is not part of the glass, but it will try to come up with the glass. And one thing I actually forgot to check is whether or not the new screen already has one of those. So I'm going to set that off to the side just in case we absolutely need to separate it. I'm pretty sure the new screen should have one. It does, right there. You can kind of see. Is that clear? Does it have one? It does have one. It has a cover over the earpiece. So that is one part that we're covered on already, but I'll leave that off to the corner. Now, once you start getting around this camera, you want to be especially careful. There are some gaps. There's a circular opening around the camera lens. You definitely do not want to get any pieces of glass in there. So the last thing you need is to finish doing a somewhat lengthy repair like this one, only to find out that you can no longer use your front camera very well because it has little bits of glass in it. You may have noticed there are some screws around the frame. You don't need to worry about those. That's only if you are going deeper than the screen. Taking apart this phone starts at the screen and works its way in. So if you were trying to disassemble your phone even further, you would want to get the whole screen off and then start unscrewing these screws. We are just interested in the screen, so we don't need to worry about any of those. And with this last little bit, we pretty much have the top part of the phone done. I'm just gonna snatch up some adhesive around the edges, make sure we've got it all.
Unfortunately, at this point in the video, my camera died without me realizing it. I didn't notice that it was low on battery, but I did grab a battery pack and continue recording right afterwards, so the video will pick back up right here just a few minutes later.
Okay, so luckily, at this point, we've reached the near end. We've got all the adhesive removed, and we are nice, clean, ready to go, thanks to the help of our tweezers here. Just picked out all that adhesive by hand. So we're going to grab our new screen, and this has plastic covering both sides. We're going to take this green tab here, just fold it backwards so it gets out of our way a little bit. Hold it for a second. There we go. Now, this green part covering all the critical, important bits. So we'll pull that off real careful around the ribbon cable. Well, there's some fresh adhesive here ready to be stuck on our phone. So we're going to go ahead and... Oh, almost dropped my battery pack there. We're gonna just reconnect this display connector. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get it lined up properly, but you can feel it click in on both sides when it's in there properly. Now we can set this backwards. Take our T5 screwdriver from earlier. We can take our metal grate piece that goes over the connector. We can use our tweezers to kind of set that back in place. And that's backwards. My apologies. Should have made a better note of which way that goes beforehand. And then we can screw in the T5 screws back into place that are going to hold that connector down and make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Next thing we're going to do I'm going to see where this red piece peels off of. Okay, that's just the top. Just the top piece here. We're going to peel off the middle with the adhesive. It's actually not sticky. I thought that was adhesive the whole time. It is actually not adhesive, so that's good to know. So that must mean this is exactly what I thought it was, which is adhesive to go on the screen. foolishly believed that they had pre-applied it for us, but they did not. This can sometimes be a little tricky to get off. The paper from the sticky bit. So we'll try and use our tweezers here. Just to loosen it up a bit. What we're going to do is stick this to the back of the screen. We're going to try and get it as centered as possible. We're going to let that sit for just a few moments. Make sure it's nice and smooth. And then we're going to get the other side of it off of there. We're going to get ready for our final application here. Just make sure things are nice and lined up. Oh, goodness. Again, almost lost my battery pack there. I'm just going to push the screen down into place. We're going to make sure things are nice and pushed in. You'll kind of feel it settle into the edges as you push it into place. And we're going to peel off this. And we have our nice, fresh screen. Nice and clean. And I've already put fingerprints on it because I touched it, but now we're going to go ahead and power on. See what we get. Beautiful. We have the screen. Everything is working. Looks very crisp, very new, and very not shattered like the other one was. We'll see if we have touch. Yep. Perfect. You can touch numbers, back. Perfect. And my fingerprint sensor works, I can tell because it asked for my PIN. I'll go off camera and put that on here. And we have touchscreen. Turn up the brightness a little bit. Boom. Perfect. And that is how you replace the screen on a Google Pixel. Thank you for watching.